Hi, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Jonathan, and we are the Provident Preppers.
Food storage is a valuable asset. What enemies are busy destroying yours?
Your food storage will last for many, many years if you understand the enemies that seek to destroy it. In this video, we will lay out a battle plan for you to slay those enemies and ensure that your food storage is good for many, many years to come.
Aren't they cute?
Not.
They are one of the enemies that we're going to talk about to our food storage. This video is based on the post that we created, 8 food storage enemies and how to slay them. We hope that you will look at that. It'll have a lot more information than we will have. This is going to be very brief. The first enemy we're going to discuss is air. Normally, we like air. It's important for us to breathe. But the oxygen in the air allows for the growth of critters, and it oxidizes our food. This is one enemy we definitely want to combat for long-term storage.
See those oxygen absorbers in there? That's how easy it is to get rid of the oxygen. Anything that creates a true oxygen barrier, like glass or metal, an oxygen absorber will do a great job getting rid of the oxygen.
Air is roughly 21% oxygen, and as we mentioned, it oxidizes many compounds in our foods. It allows for the growth of insects and bacteria. The removal of this oxygen increases the shelf life of our low moisture foods.
Chemical contamination is a concern and a threat to your storage. If you are using plastic buckets, make sure that they have never stored anything other than food. The plastic is porous and it will retain some of those chemicals and leach it back into your food. So be very careful. You don't want to store your food storage next to any type of chemicals. Don't store it near gasoline or paint or anything like that. Keep your food storage separate. Can you see these insects in this rice? This was kind of a really fun thing. This was some food storage that was donated to us. It's very old. It was a great opportunity for us to see what happens. The rice was put into this plastic cheese ball container. I do not know how long it had been there, but you can see the amount of bugs that had grown in this rice. Insects must be destroyed at all stages. When you remove the oxygen from a container, it will kill insects at all stages. Some of the other forms of treatment will only kill it one at a time, so it will allow the larva to hatch and grow into an adult, and then it kills them at the adult stage. But that's one of the really good reasons to use oxygen absorbers.
Light, and particularly UV radiation, are another one of the enemies to our food storage. They do a couple of things. They degrade the containers that we put the food in, and they also degrade the food itself.
The best place to store your food is in a dark room with no light, and in containers that keep the light out. If you store your food storage in glass jars, it is really important that you store it in a dark room. A number 10 can that's not going to let the light in, not quite as important. The only candidates for long-term storage are foods that are less than 10% in moisture. I am not quite sure what happened to the rice in this can. This was another food storage that was donated to us, so I'm not quite sure what the real life of it was, but you can see what it's done to the metal in the can, and I would not eat the rice that was in this. I don't know if the moisture content of the rice was too high when it was put in there, or if it was just stored incorrectly. I'm not quite sure what happened, but moisture is definitely an enemy. Make sure that you store your buckets or your food storage off of the concrete where it allows plenty of airflow and the moisture cannot affect your food storage. Our food storage room can be a little bit high in humidity. If I just store a container of salt down there, within a year, that salt's going to be brick hard. The way that we control the moisture is we place some of our food storage in its original packaging in plastic buckets and seal it up, and this completely protects them from the moisture. It also assists in protecting rodents. And speaking about rodents...
Yes, cute little creatures, aren't they?
Not.
These are not something we want to deal with. They create all kinds of problems, including eating away at our containers, and their mouse droppings are a health hazard. We absolutely do not want to deal with this.
This picture was taken in the home of someone who had invited me over to look at their pantry. Mice had come through the garage, eaten through the sheetrock in the garage, come through the wall, and eaten through the sheetrock in the pantry, and had come and made a mess of the food in her pantry. So it is very important that you control the rodents. We like to have cats because we live in the country, and cats do a fantastic job of keeping our rodents under control. We also have traps, and there's all kinds of different ways to take care of your rodents, but don't ignore this problem because they are definitely an enemy to your food storage. Temperature will affect the life of your food storage significantly. In this picture, you will see that there are two different buckets of beans. These beans were purchased in the year 2000, well, actually the year 1999 for Y2K. One bucket was purchased by my sister and one by myself at the same location at the same time. The only difference between these two is the way that they were stored. The beans on the right were stored in a basement for 14 years in a nice, dark, cool basement. The ones that are in the center, they were stored in the garage for most of the time, and then on the side of the house for a year or two. And you look at the difference in the beans, and it is significant. When we cooked these up, even the taste was different. Temperature matters. The best storage conditions are cool, dry, constant temperature. So the cooler you get it, the longer your food storage is going to last. Now, if you look on the left hand, that's an example of beans bought the same time, but they were stored in a number 10 can. And quite frankly, the number 10 can does create a better environment for food storage. I think it's probably because the oxygen is removed and it creates this nice little time capsule. But temperature matters when it comes to food storage. This is the bucket of those dark beans that my sister had. When we opened it, you can totally see in the can, those are the conditions of the beans in the can. And then in the little measuring cup, those were beans that I scooped out of my bucket that was 14 years old. So when you're seeing these beans next to each other, there's definitely a difference. Temperature matters.
Time is also one of our enemies. And of course, we don't have much ability to control time, except that we can rotate our food so that it does not get old.
The longer you have your food storage, the longer it degrades. If you store it properly, it takes a lot longer, and you can be gifted more time when that food storage will be good. We have a video out. It's called How Old is Too Old. You might want to check out that one because we've got some really good examples on there, and you can learn how old really is too old to eat your food storage.
Your food stores are truly an asset that is worth protecting. So if you're going to invest your money in this asset, you want to make sure that you do it right.
So now you understand the enemies to your food storage, right? You have an asset. You need to slay each one of these enemies so that you can increase the life of your food storage and make sure that it is in premium condition when you need it. Ideal storage conditions are cool, dry, dark, correctly packaged, because if you just stick that 25-pound of beans downstairs, it's not correctly packaged and it's not going to last as long. And rotated. The best thing is to rotate. But if you choose not to rotate, put it in number 10 cans and it will last for 25 or 30 years and you'll be just fine.
Google the Provident Prepper, 8 food storage enemies and how to slay them. Also the Provident Prepper food storage, how old is too old. And also the Provident Prepper, long-term food storage, best containers and treatment methods.
The most important thing is that you store it so that you're ready no matter what the challenges are that life throws your way.
Now that you are acquainted with these formidable enemies, do the very best you can to slay them so that your food storage will be good for many years to come.
And now for the questions of the day. What have you done to ensure that your food storage will be good for many years to come? Do you have any horror stories you would like to share? Comment below.
And thanks for being part of the solution.